Hey, it's Father Time here. I'm going to fly this PMDG developer, American Airlines livery, 737-800 from Hartford to LaGuardia. I've heard good things about it. They're coming out with the 777. I can't wait. I'm current on the 777. Looks like we've got a little bit of a tailwind, sort of max power, going at 5,000. Runway heading should be, we're on actually runway 5 for some reason. But anyway, we spawned on runway 5. We'll take off there. 057, 155 is V2. LNAV's arm, VNAV's arm, 1120 is engine out. We're going to try to fly on over, flight test this. I played with it a couple of times. I bought it this morning, about $60. Kind of pricey, but for that $60, I bought the Captain Sim 777, 200, 300, and 76, 300, and they were nowhere near this quality. Matter of fact, it was basically the software of the 747, so the pitch and power settings were off. I'm current in the 777 as a captain, so I know a little bit about it. So let's see if a real airline pilot, 36 years with the airline, 7 years in the Air Force, type-rated in pretty much every Boeing aircraft, can fly this bird over to LaGuardia from Bradley. Let's give it a shot. Last time I tried this, I did have trouble finding didn't mean to do that, the toga switch and being able to access it. That's it. There we go. All right. Did better that time. Here we go. See how we do. Taking off on runway 5. And we'll head over to LaGuardia using LNAV, VNAV to an ILS. Full stop at LaGuardia. A little bit of a tailwind. Hope we have enough runway. There's 80 on the acceleration check. Airspeed indicators cross check. V1 rotate. Never loaded the takeoff bugs. That's okay.
Positive ready to climb.
Gear up. Gear's coming up. It's LNAV in it. Following the command bars.
Continue for north departure.
I'm not going to answer the radios, guys. Sorry about that.
Frequency change approved.
Here's flaps 5. You can bring the flaps up to 1. Flaps 1. You can bring the flaps up. All right, so we're LNAVing it and VNAVing it. We'll see how it does. So far, so good. When I flight tested it last time, I was kind of pleased. Hand flying. All right, let's get the autopilot on over here.
Time 738, did you copy?
It's on. Sorry about the radios. All right, autopilot's on. LNAV, VNAV. It's not maintaining the airspeed great. Maybe I didn't give it a chance. Let's set the altitude up to 12,000, and that'll be our final cruising altitude over to LaGuardia. We'll see if VNAV works. Doesn't work on any of the others, other than the A320NX Neo.
Did you copy?
Sorry about the radios. Let's go down and make sure our final cruising altitude is set. I'm going to put in 12,000. Set. And we'll cruise at 310. Set. And we'll descend at 310.
Father time 738, please acknowledge.
All right, so we've got cruising at 310, climbing at 12, descending at 310 with the restriction of 240 below 10. So see how it does. Right now we're VNAV and LNAVing. Let's get the range out so you can check it out. So far, so good. pretty smooth. I started off the first time at the gate. Oh, you know what? The transponder's not set.
Father time 738 ATC services terminated. Good day.
Okay, let's do that. And let's do terrain. We've got the transponders on. And we set terrain to get some traffic. We'll assume the weather's okay. And here we go. How are the lights doing here? That's a little better. It's kind of dark out. Okay. Now let's go direct to, let's go down run, Yeoman, CIF. Back to the top of the page, Yeoman, Yeoman, LNAV, VNAV, direct Yeoman. Out of 10, it's accelerating to 315, should be 310. Oh, I guess the climb must have a climb speed. A 315 in. Let's put in 310. Just make it consistent. Yeah, it's responding nicely. A lot of these things don't work well on the other heavy aircraft, big aircraft. Look at that, it says 50,000 instead of 5,000. I don't know why 50's in there. Put 12 in. Thought I had 12 set. There's 12. There we go. I had the altitude intervene because when I slid it down, it captured. All right, so let's see how the prog page worked, because that has not been accurate on the Captain Sim airplanes. 86 miles, that's about right. Okay, there's 11 for 12. If everything's good, we're in VNAV path, which means it's where it should be. We're LNAVing it direct to the IAF. For runway 22, it's essentially a straight in. Once we get leveled at our altitude, I'm going to put in 3,000. Which is our Yeoman altitude. And we'll see if it VNAV paths on down. And we'll arm the approach when we get down in there. We'll see how it does with the VNAV LNAV, which is very unusual that it works. So let's see what we got here. LNAV, VNAV, 12,000. We don't have the window open. If we wanted to speed intervene, we could put in whatever speed we want. We're going to let it fly its program speeds. And left autopilot's on command A. All right, let's talk about the approach. Going to be the ILS 22 left. ILS 22, I'm sorry. And going to put auto brakes on 3. We're going to plan an approach speed. Flaps 40 for the short 7,000 foot runway. Put that in. Flaps 40. 159 is roast weight. And we'll arm the spoilers for now. That's armed. Make sure they didn't deploy. Nope. Okay. And now, see the top of descent here. Just bring the range down. So if we put in 3,000 here in our window, it shouldn't do anything because it's in path. Shouldn't do anything until it gets to the top of descent, at which time it should descend across Yeoman at 3,000 and 209 knots. So we'll have to help it out, obviously, with flaps, maybe a speed brake. If we see increased drag, we'll have to do that, but So far, I'm impressed. Yeah, I did the whole pre-flight the first time. I didn't want to bore you with it, but it was pretty good. I hope the window heat's on. Yeah, it's on this time. I tried to do a cold, dark start, and it ended up with a lot of switches and lights on. I also need to buy a flight plan that'll automatically upload from Flight Sim. I had to manually load the flight plan and the altitudes and everything. So, see how it works. So far, I'll tell you, as I recall, being a 7.3 captain, it flew very similar to the 7.3 on the Takeoff. This airplane is not Autoland capability. You have the ceiling set down around 300 feet. There is a HUD. I'll bring that down for you if I can figure out how to do it here. HUD, auto, and there it is. HUD's okay. It doesn't help you much on landing. It's great for finding the runway because your flight path vector right there will be pointing towards the end. So when you're even in a crosswind or a displaced approach course, it'll be pointing at the end of the runway on final. That's helpful. But as far as you can actually fly down to 50 feet, there's an auto-land capability on the aircraft that our airline didn't buy, but it certainly can auto-land, which could give you down to a 300 RVR, 300 and 300, or 600, depending on what you're certified for. If you didn't buy that package, it's a 50-foot decision height, Cat 3. So I'm curious. Here we come. We're coming up to the top of descent. We're in VNAV path. We have allowed it. We have set 3,000 in the window, so it's got permission to descend with the path. If 12,000 was within the window, it would not descend. So you have to give it permission. And then when we get down closer, I'll arm approach prior to Yeoman, so we'll follow the glide path down, and we'll see how it does. But PMDG, now that's a good organization. They make really good products, evidently. Like I said, I can't wait for the 777. I'm 36 years with the airline, 7 years with the Air Force. I'll turn 65 in September. Date's February 25th, 2023, which time I'll retire. Let's see how it does here. So there it is. The real airplane would start a descent at the top of descent. Top of descent went away. Is it coming down? There it goes. Wow. So VNAV path works on this aircraft. PMDG, I love you guys. If you need a beta tester for that 777, let me know. I am current on it. Fly a lot to Europe, Asia, South America, out of New York. So far, so good. So we're tracking the path. We should be setting the mins for Kennedy on the approach. I don't have my approach plates with me, but it's down around 300, down around 250. I think it's a 250-foot decision height. We have the weather set at 300, 250 and a half, I do believe. So that puts the mins down around 260. Barrow. All right, 260. It's descending nicely. Out of 11, it should be slowing to 250 before 10. We would come up here and cycle the seatbelt sign if Captain Marvel can remember where it is. We're below 18. I'll get all my lights on. That should all been on for takeoff. Cycle seatbelt sign should be on. It's chimed. All right. Will it hit 250 at 10? Looks like it's going to do it. Or I think we actually have a program for 240 at 10. That's the default. 240 at 10. Now we'll have to help it out, getting flaps out when the time comes. I'm not going to do it too early because it'll, if you leave it in VNAV, unless you speed intervene, it'll slow to the whatever the flap speed is. So if we were to go to flaps 1, it would slow down to 190 or so, whatever the flap speed is. The flap bugs are flaps 1 at 250, flaps 2 at 250, flaps 5 at 250, 210, all the way down to flaps 40 at 162. And we did set our approach speed, flaps 40. It says 148 will be our final bug. So far so good. We're below 10. We chimed the flight attendants. Descent checks complete. Got the HUD set to go. Prepared for landing. We'll see how it does. Yeoman, the aircraft wants us to be at 210. So we'll plan on that. But for now, you know what? I'll speed intervene. And I'll keep it at 240. I'll manually control the speed. So it's going to maintain path, and I'll fly the speed. Nice job. This actually is working beautifully. Mash the caution, press the reset. Alright, so we got the auto brakes armed at 3. Spoilers armed, just pulled them up. It's automatically flying the path, descending nicely. Naturally, these VNAV approaches, stars and approaches, they work great, but the reality is, coming into a busy place like New York, you're constantly getting airspeeds, altitudes, headings changed. You rarely get to fly an entire approach like this. Unless you're flying an RNAV approach for final, you have to be intervening and go into level change or vertical speed, usually level change, in order to make follow the ATC instructions. But today, we're turning off the radios. We're going to let them fly on in. All right, so it's 10 degrees going into the weather. Let me see if I can remember where the engine ice is on this thing. Let's put on the engine ice. We don't need wing unless it shows up. Now, when you put on the engine ice, the idle RPM, TAI, shows. And it sometimes can mess up your profile descent because the idle RPM has to be higher because you're drawing a lot more off the bleed air. But it seems to be handling it well. So we're doing good. Check the prog page. Looks like we're about 30 miles out or so. Yeah, 29. Should be on a 3-degree dive path around a little below 10,000, and we're coming through 7. So I'm checking the path versus my manual calculations. Everything looks good. Looking up at the HUD, here's our airspeed, our altitude, obviously. This is our AOA. This will be a full stall. This will be, means if you see it at 3 o'clock, means you're in a good energy position. It helps in unusual attitudes, trying to get out of a stall situation. Headings 219, pretty much coming in straight to 22. Now, if we wanted to go flaps 1, if we were in VNAV without speed intervention, it'd slow all the way down to 210. But I think I will bring this back a little bit, since it's coming up near the 250. The reason it's up there is because I've turned on the ice and the idle RPM, instead of maintaining 240, had to maintain 250. So you can see the throttles were all the way back. It was not able to do it. So the machine, if I had speed intervention off, it'd slow us all the way down to 200. That's why I'm going to speed intervene, just to keep the speed up a little bit in the interest of expedition. Plus, the truth is, LaGuardia would not want you slowing down that early. They would be calling you speeds. I'll tell you, still in path, I'm loving this. I think it's a really good product so far, so it's well worth the money. It's probably why they were able to charge so much. I will pay whatever it takes for the 777 when they get that complete. Hey, PMDG, if you happen to run across this video, if you guys need a beta tester, please give me a call. I would love to play with that and do that for you for free. It's doing a good job. All right, there's the ILS course alive. That's a VNAV path right now. We don't have a glide slope yet. So we'll assume that we're cleared for the approach. So we're going to go approach. Come back here. What you see in the window is it's LNAVing it and VNAV pathing it with speed intervention. It's going to LNAV it until it captures the localizer course. Then it will change the localizer. And it's going to VNAV, when it captures the glide slope, you'll get green there. So VOR loc will turn green, or loc, and glide slope will turn green when it captures. And here comes the glide slope. Can start bringing the airspeed back a little more. Yeoman 210. Well, still below 250. I'll give the flaps a little bump down to 2. And the flap 2 speed is down at 192. So I'll bring it back to 192. Spoilers are on, brakes are on. I guess the ceiling is, I did live weather. You can see the runway. I thought I'd lowered the ceiling down to 300. I guess not. There's the runway out there. So looking over here at our speeds, we can go flaps 5. We can go to 250. We can get flaps 5 out now. Let them come down to 5. A little more drag because we're about to intercept the glide path. It says single channel. Put on both autopilots for Autoland. So it's just warning us that if we're trying to Autoland, we're only in single channel. All right, so still in path. There's loc, so it's captured the loc. VNAV alt means it captured the altitude. Oh, and simultaneously we captured the glide path. Let's get the gear down. Pull it out, put it down. Now with the gear down, let's go to flaps 20. And we'll get the speed coming back. Alright, what's the missed approach altitude? Tail anti-ice on. Engine anti-ice is on above 10 degrees. So we turn that off. That's that message we got. Alright. We can bring it back to final approach speed if LaGuardia would let us. So below 162. Right now below 175. We can go to flaps 30. And with flaps 30, we can go pretty much down there. We're going to get down below 162 to go to flaps 40. There's 162. Flaps coming to 40. All right, gear down, flaps down, 40. And missed approach altitude is set at 3,000. There we go. Man, it's just a nice product, guys. So this HUD, captain's required to use it. It's the 7.8 has it on both sides. On the 7.3, it's just on the left side. It's flying 150 right at ref. It's tracking localizer, glide slope, doing a nice job. So the 7.3 will Autoland. We'll see how it does. We'll give it a shot. I think someone's coming towards us opposite direction. Not sure that's true, but might be. Just like any, we'll try to see if in Autoland, just like any Autoland, if we have to, we got to turn off the autopilot. If we see any deviations, because we're in VFR conditions, I just fly it manually. I continue. Any degradation on a real Cat 3, you would have, no, stable. Real Cat 3, you'd have to turn everything off. So we're going to give it a shot here. It's the Whitestone Bridge, Throgs Neck, Long Island Sound. That's Long Island out there. Manhattan off to the right. Let it try to Autoland.
Traffic. Traffic.
Yeah, we're landing opposite traffic. Where do they get such aviators? Prepare to take over manually, but otherwise we'll let it try to Autoland. You can see wherever this pipper is, this flight path vector, that's where you're gonna, the aircraft aim point is. It's showing us right in the landing zone.
Plus 100.
2 reds over 2 whites is right on glide path, so everything checks out. I'm inside, outside.
Minimums.
See if it lands. It's got flare enunciated, and it should be
40, 30, 20,
nice.
10.
Beautiful. And we go into full reverse. Up. Taking it over manually because the aircraft started drifting. Nice. All right, let's get the autopilots off. And that's the autopilot switch. Auto throttle switch. Takeoff config. Don't know why it's doing that, guys. Well, rather than listen to this, why don't we just shut it down? Maybe I just had the power up too far for takeoff, for taxi. Okay, yeah, let me see that. Yeah, that's it. I just had the power up too far for taxi. See if we can taxi this to the gate. Have a little fun here. That's probably not letting us taxi because I don't know. Thought the autopilot was off. Oh, it's still showing command. Don't know. So if I could see something that's kind of funky, that's it. It's not letting me disconnect the autopilot. Maybe if I turn off the flight directors. That's a minor complaint there. How about now? What you have to do is come in here and click this. Okay, it's still not letting me taxi. Don't know why. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. If you liked it, please like, subscribe. I appreciate any help I could get. I like it. I like the product. I don't know what happened there. Normally you take off the autopilot and the auto throttles and you can manually taxi it. Wasn't letting me do that. So PMDG, great job. However, I would say that's an issue. You should be able to take off the autopilot and taxi the aircraft. Anyway, that was great. Thanks, guys, and Father Time is out.